My fiancé gave me a protective talisman, but I immediately ground the paper into powder and mixed it into the drink I handed him, watching as he drank it down. In my previous life, I had foolishly believed his lies and carried the talisman with me, only to have my body taken over by my sister who died young, leaving me as a wandering ghost, unable to find peace for eternity. My sister, using my body, reunited with our family, married my fiancé, and lived a happy and fulfilling life. I became a wandering ghost, rejected by heaven and earth, my soul shattered and collapsing until I was completely annihilated. It was only then that I realized the talisman he gave me contained my sister's soul, and I was the body he had chosen. All he had to do was wait for me to carry that talisman close to my body for a month, and my sister could take over my body and be reborn. When I opened my eyes again, I had returned to the day he gave me the talisman. You like my sister, don't you? Then I'll make sure you're with her forever. Yeah, this is a peace talisman I specially asked a master to get for you. It works just by carrying it close to your body, and it's said to be very effective. Take it quickly. When my fiancé handed me that protective talisman, I knew I had been reborn. In my previous life, when I learned he had sought a protective talisman for me, I was overjoyed and carried it with me every day, almost never letting it leave my side. But not long after, my health began to deteriorate, yet the hospital examination results showed everything was normal. Until the moment I had worn it for a full month, I felt an excruciating pain as if my soul were being torn apart. I woke up from the pain, only to find my soul had separated from my body, while my body itself was smiling. Later, I learned that the soul within my body was my sister's. She had been residing in the protective talisman all along, and as long as I wore it for a full month, she could completely take over my body and be reborn. My parents were also aware of this plan, but they silently allowed it all to happen, all for the sake of bringing my sister back to life. Deep in my soul, it felt as if the pain of being forcibly torn away had resurfaced. Looking at his hypocritical face, I couldn't help but wish I could kill him. However, thinking of the arrangements to come, I slightly curved the corners of my mouth, forcing a smile, and pretended to happily accept the talisman. I then took out a small pouch and stuffed the protective talisman inside. Linsu, thank you. I really like it. I haven't given you any engagement gift. I'm so touched. How about you tell me where you got the talisman, and I'll get one for you too. Linsu's eyes flickered, and he quickly said, no need. Yeah, this thing is very hard to come by, and I don't want you to suffer. Oh, yeah. Look how much Linsu cares for you. To have found such a good boyfriend, you must have accumulated good fortune in your past life. Mother was smiling quietly on the side, seemingly pleased by the harmonious interaction between the two of us, but when I thought of the truth I had learned in my previous life, a chill ran through my heart. My sister and I are twins, but she was born frail, so when our parents went out to work, I was left behind in our hometown, while she was taken to live with them. We saw each other no more than 10 times a year, and each meeting was just a brief glance, so there was never any deep emotional bond between us. I knew they preferred my younger sister, so I doubled my efforts in studying, hoping my parents would pay more attention to me. In my previous life, after my sister passed away, my parents sent me a message saying they missed me and hoped I could return to their side. At that time, I was overjoyed, naively believing that my love had moved them, and without hesitation, I chose to live with them. Through them, I met my current fiancé. In the end, they only wanted my sister to take over my body. It was all a deception. Yes, I hope this talisman can bless me with a lifetime of happiness and well-being. I stroked the talisman in my hand, lowered my eyes, and replied like this. Upon hearing this, my mother's face immediately changed, and she glared at me fiercely. My father even rushed forward and slapped me hard. Smack. Instantly knocking my head to the side, he pointed at my nose and angrily scolded me. What do you mean? Are you implying something about your sister? If it weren't for you taking your sister's nutrients in the womb, making her so weak, would she have died so early? You got the advantage and still act innocent. How could I have given birth to such a shameless daughter? A buzzing sound echoed in my ears, and my cheeks burned with pain. I stared at my father in disbelief, forcing out a few tears. Dad, what did I say? I just want to live a healthy life. How does that imply anything about my sister? Linsu gave me this protective charm to wish me safety. Right, you've already lost one daughter. Do you really want to lose another? Then I might as well just throw this protective charm away, since you don't seem to want me to be safe. A flicker of guilt flashed in his eyes, but when he heard I was going to throw away the protective charm, it was quickly replaced by fresh anger, and he moved to hit me. Seeing this, Linsu quickly stepped in to smooth things over, while also stopping him and giving him a meaningful look. Uncle, please calm down. Lin, you didn't mean what you said. She's also heartbroken about her sister's death. As her older sister, she surely wishes Linen were still alive, right? A flicker of a dark light passed through his eyes, and his words carried a suggestive tone. Upon hearing his words, My father finally seemed to realize his mistake and quickly said, "Yeah, don't take it to heart with your dad. It's just that your sister's death was too sudden, and he couldn't process it right away. You should still keep this protective charm close to you. Dad still wants you to be safe." My mom quickly chimed in as well. Yes, you should still wear it. This is Lin Chu's heartfelt wish." I felt a wave of disgust inside, having been reborn. I had no intention of holding back. I stepped forward and slapped my dad hard across the face. A crisp slap echoed through the air, and all three of them stared at me in disbelief, as if I had done something utterly unforgivable. "An apology requires sincerity, Dad. I accept your sincerity." I knew they wouldn't dare do anything to me. After all, in their eyes, my body now belonged to their precious daughter. If anything were to happen to their beloved daughter's body, they would surely be heartbroken. So after saying that, I went straight back to my room. Not long after, I heard angry shouts coming from outside. "She's rebelling, truly rebelling. How dare she hit me?" Dad was so furious that he punched the table, using all sorts of nasty words to insult me. "Oh, let's just put up with her for this 1 month. After a month, Arnon will be back. All the grievances we're enduring now are for Arnon's sake." Mother whispered words of comfort. "That's right, Uncle, for Arnon's sake. Just bear with it. When Linen takes over her body, her soul will have nowhere to go and will just dissipate. That can be considered as avenging you." Lin Su chimed in to support the idea. I coldly curled the corner of my lips, then fiercely threw the talisman Lin Su gave me onto the ground, grinding it under the tip of my shoe until it was completely shattered. Looking at the remnants of the talisman on the floor, I felt nothing but disgust. Yet, for the sake of my plan, I still swept the debris into the dustpan. The next day after work, I went to a fruit shop and bought several types of strong-smelling fruits, then carried them back home. I was the only one at home, but that suited me just fine. I put the talisman residue from the dustpan and the fruit into a blender, thoroughly mixing them together, then poured every last drop of the liquid into a cup. After finishing all of this, I heard movement outside the door. "Mom, don't worry, I will definitely treat him well in the future." Lin Su walked into the room with my parents, still chatting. He was expressing his loyalty to my parents, but not for my sake. It was for Linen. "Since you love her so much, then stay with her forever." "I'll bless you," I chuckled softly, quickly adjusting my expression to appear brighter, like a girl in love. Click. "Lin Su, you're back. I bought some fruit today and made you a drink. Would you like to try it?" I pushed the door open and walked out, ignoring my parents' stunned expressions, and handed the specially made fruit drink to Lin Su. "Yeah, you're back so early today. Don't you usually come back at 7 every day?" Lin Su's expression was stiff, with a look of guilt and panic. "Oh, the last project is over, so I didn't work overtime today." "By the way, what were you talking about just now?" "The noise from the blender here was too loud. I didn't hear anything." I pretended not to have heard anything. "Before everything is settled, I'm happy to maintain relative peace." He breathed a sigh of relief, quickly took the drink from my hand, and took a big gulp. It's nothing. I was just persuading your father together with your mother, telling him that feelings need to be nurtured, and you two will definitely reconcile in the future." I didn't answer, just nodded gently, watching him finish the drink little by little. Things went even more smoothly than I had imagined. On the third day, I noticed a subtle change in Lin Su. This change was very slight and would normally go unnoticed. Only someone who had experienced a full cycle like me could clearly sense that something was off. "Lin Su, why are you up so early?" I called out to him calmly, gazing into his dazed eyes. "I don't know, maybe I went to bed early yesterday." Lin Su shook his head, forcing himself to perk up a bit. He looked at me and asked with a hint of nervousness, "By the way, yeah, how are you feeling today? Have you noticed any changes in your body?" I sneered inwardly, but on the surface, I put on a timely look of confusion. "Change? What change could I possibly have?" Seeing that my expression didn't seem fake, a flicker of confusion passed through his eyes, and he casually found an excuse. "That talisman I gave you, it's supposed to have a protective effect, right? I just wanted to ask if you've been feeling more relaxed physically." I cooperatively furrowed my brows slightly, my tone carrying just the right amount of playful reproach. "It's not going to work that fast. This isn't some miracle cure. It might take a while longer to see any changes." He murmured to himself as if waking from a dream. "Right. I'll have to wait a bit longer." His hypocritical expression made me physically uncomfortable. Suppressing the urge to vomit, I lowered my gaze and spoke softly to him. "By the way, Lin Su, I'm going on a business trip to another city for a while, so I'll have to trouble you to take care of the house during this time. Of course, watching a show shouldn't involve getting caught up in it myself. I had already decided to leave this place early on." The reason I didn't leave yesterday was simply because I hadn't set up the surveillance properly, which delayed my plans. What? You're leaving? For how long? Lin Su's voice suddenly rose sharply. I pretended to be surprised and looked up, only to see his face pale with anxiety as he stared at me urgently. Lin Su, I'm just going on a business trip. It's not like I'm not coming back. What's with that reaction? He quickly realized he had lost his composure and forced a smile. Sorry, yeah. I scared you. I'm just concerned about you. Do you really have to go on this business trip now? You just got home not long ago, and it's a great time to bond with your parents. Going on a trip now isn't good for your relationship with them. I pretended to hesitate, furrowing my brows, and sighed under his expectant gaze. I don't want to either, but our boss said the person in charge over there specifically asked for me. If I don't go, they won't sign the contract. Lin Shu. You know how great of an opportunity this is, right? Lin Shu still wanted to try to persuade me, but I shut him down with my words. You forgot. You said what you like most about me is my independence and strength. Are you trying to stop me now? He was choked by his own words and couldn't argue back, so he could only nod helplessly in agreement. All right then, go early and come back soon. I looked at him with a face full of emotion. Lin Su, thank you for supporting me. I am so fortunate to have a husband like you. By the way, please tell my parents for me that I'm in a hurry and won't be staying longer. After saying this, I turned around directly without looking at his expression and quickly left the house. My parents are best at causing trouble. In the previous life, during this month, whenever I had the intention to leave home, they would make a scene regardless of the occasion, denouncing me as unfilial all over the street and making me a laughingstock. I won't suffer this loss again in this lifetime. Lin Su, who had intended to use my parents to hold me back, could only watch helplessly as I left. After leaving home, I drove straight to the neighboring city and moved into my newly purchased house. There was one thing I didn't tell Lin Su. I wasn't actually on a business trip. Instead, I had submitted an application to transfer to a branch office, and I planned to settle down here for good. Over the years of working, I had saved up a sum of money. Originally intended for buying a marital home when I got married, however, that money ended up being used by that despicable couple for their own benefit. Now, I decisively used it to purchase this home that is entirely my own. Although the area is a bit smaller than expected, it is my exclusive haven. To ensure safety, I specifically added an extra security door on top of the existing access control system. I chose a model with a peephole, allowing me to observe the outside without having to step out. Once everything was ready, I wanted to pull up the surveillance footage from Lin Su's side to check the situation, when my phone suddenly rang. The word mom flashing on the screen made me raise an eyebrow. I chuckled softly and pressed the answer button, curious to see what new act this loving mother and her wonderful husband had in store. Yeah. Why did you have to go on a business trip at this time? You just got home, and we haven't had a chance to spend time together. You should come back as soon as possible. She was playing the emotional card again. She had always been like this, showing no real affection for me, yet mastering this tactic to perfection. In my past life, it was this kind of soft coercion that pushed me step by step into a corner, ultimately leading to my downfall. Mom, I really have no choice. The client specifically asked for me to come. Should I just quit this job? I deliberately hesitated before making this suggestion. I know her too well. This job offers a good salary, low pressure, and the boss is sentimental. If I really quit, her precious daughter would neither get a job placement nor any benefits in the future. She definitely wouldn't want to see that happen. Don't do that. Yeah. My mom is indeed getting anxious. Your current job is so good. I'm not against you going on business trips, but you just got back, and we really miss you. When it comes to the interests of her precious daughter, my mom is more anxious than anyone else. If I hadn't seen with my own eyes how much they dote on my sister, I wouldn't be so eager to receive the same affection. How ironic, and the result, I thought my mom would let it go at that, but she pushed her luck and made an even more shameless request. How about this? The city you're traveling to isn't far from home, just a 3-hour trip. Why don't you just come home to stay? You can leave a bit earlier for work each day, and then nothing will be delayed. Staying at home will also save you some money. You're still young, and there will be plenty of expenses in the future. It's never a bad idea to save up a bit more. Now she wants me to save money, so I can leave it for her precious darling in the future. She expects me to sacrifice 3 hours of sleep every day, just to keep me under her watchful eye. These despicable parents really will stop at nothing. I'm spending my own money, so there's no need for you to worry. I lost interest in talking to her and was about to hang up when my father's furious cursing came through the phone. You wretched girl, where the hell have you been? Get your ass back here right now. You really are a cheap slut, aren't you? Instead of coming home. You're out there seducing men, is that it? These two are playing good cop, bad cop, and they're surprisingly in sync. No wonder they say birds of a feather flock together. I sneered and spoke slowly. Wow, Dad, you're so skilled. So, all those days you weren't home, you were out seducing men. Huh, no wonder you're getting more charming with age. A heavy panting sound came from the other end of the phone, followed by a series of loud, chaotic noises. Clearly, I had angered him quite a bit. You little bitch, how dare you talk back? Get back here right now, or I'll go to your workplace and find you. It's the same old trick again, always the same old trick. My mom's emotional blackmail, my dad's throwing a tantrum, all the usual tactics from my past life are being used again, not a single one missing. But this time, I won't be so easily manipulated by him. Fine, go ahead, if you dare to go. I'll dare to jump from the house. At worst, we'll all die together. The body I'm using now is your precious daughter's future vessel. If I die, she won't be able to return. Do you dare take that gamble, my dear father? You. A crashing sound of objects being thrown came from the other end of the phone, followed by my mother's scream. Old Lynn, calm down. Yaya, please come back. Your father is furious. Let's talk about this face to face. I cut her off directly. Mom, you should keep an eye on Dad. How can he keep going out to seduce other men? Isn't it disgusting to sleep next to him? Bitch, bitch, twin stars from the same womb, you are the calamity star. The master was right, you really are here to bring ruin to our family. I should have strangled you at birth. My hand, which had been stroking the edge of the table, paused. Slowly, I repeated that strange word, master. A chaotic commotion erupted from the other side. It was a long time before I heard my mother's slightly guilty voice. Yaya, you must be quite busy. So I won't disturb you anymore. What your dad said was just out of anger. Don't take it to heart. The call was immediately hung up on the other end. I stared blankly at my phone for a moment, then let out a low, soft chuckle. I see, my first half of life, which I thought was not anticipated, was actually because of a so-called master. Could this talisman also be the work of this master? I gazed quietly at the surveillance screen, anticipating what would happen next, in the following days. My parents never called me again, only Lin Su contacted me from time to time, asking if I was carrying that peace charm. Of course, I'm well aware that my parents must be eavesdropping from the other side. Every time, I would answer that I had brought it and show them the empty pouch. That's good, that's good. By the way, have you had any symptoms lately? I pretended to ponder, watching Lin Su's nervous expression on the other side, then smiled and answered softly, come to think of it, I've been feeling a bit drowsy lately. Maybe my sleep quality wasn't great before, but now I seem to be sleeping more soundly. Of course, I made that up, and it's different from the effect of that talisman, but I didn't want to raise Lin Su's suspicion, so I just casually mentioned the opposite effect. He seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, patting his chest, with obvious red veins in his eyes. That's good, that's good. He said that's good several times in a row, his expression looking somewhat unsettling, but I pretended not to notice and quietly waited for him to hang up the phone. The call was quickly ended. I turned on the surveillance in my phone and saw the three of them sitting together discussing. Great, the master was right after all. Arnon is coming back soon. Haha, my poor Arnon, she was cursed by that jinx from a young age and in the end, she didn't make it. Now she finally doesn't have to worry anymore. She'll live a healthy life. And that jinx is going to die too? Phew, the master truly has skills. I'll be able to see Annan again soon. I miss her so much. Watching the three of them reveling, I thought to myself, laugh and make a scene all you want, you'll soon reap despair. The 11th day arrived quickly. It was also the day my symptoms worsened in my previous life. It happened to be a Saturday, and I turned on the surveillance early in the morning to watch the situation across the street. However, I noticed that Lin Su's symptoms were slightly different from mine. Annan, is that you? Annan, have you come back? The first thing he did upon opening his eyes was to lunge toward the empty balcony, wrapping his arms tightly around nothing, only to end up falling to the ground. He let out a cry of pain, yet stubbornly wrapped his arms around himself. Gazing affectionately at Annan in his embrace, Annan, I've missed you so much. Has it been 30 days already? I don't remember, but it's good that you're back. It's good that you're back. His strange state made me narrow my eyes and sit up straight. It's different from my situation. Why? Because he drank the talisman. While I carry it with me, I don't know what kind of changes such an anomaly might bring, but in any case, it's Lin Su who's being tormented. So I can still sit back and watch the show with ease. A strange turn of events, but isn't it more interesting this way? The loud noise caught my parents' attention, and they barged in to find Lin Su in an unusual state. What's wrong, Lin Su? How did you fall? They looked in surprise at Lin Su, who seemed to be holding on to something, their eyes filled with astonishment. Lin Su withdrew his gaze from Annan and looked at my parents with confusion. Uncle, Aunt, Annan has finally come back. Aren't you going to say hello to her? My parents exchanged glances and asked cautiously, Anin, where is Anin? Linshu, are you missing Anin so much that you're hallucinating? Anin is right here. Linsu lowered his head, only to find an empty arm. His face instantly turned deathly pale. No Anin, then what was I just? My parents comforted him. You're probably just missing Anin too much. Don't worry. There are only 20 days left before Anin comes back. Ah, what a wonderful child. Auntie supports you and in being together. Linsu did not calm down because of my parents' comfort. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead as he frantically searched for his phone, eagerly dialing my number. Beep, beep. The phone rang urgently, but I ignored it, simply waiting for the call to end on its own. Answer the phone. Why aren't you answering? Answer the phone. Linsu's expression instantly turned ferocious, startling my parents, who looked at him somewhat at a loss. Linsu had no time to pay attention, just stubbornly staring at the phone screen, dialing the number over and over again. Beep, beep. The phone rang a full 7 times. I watched with amusement as the other person looked utterly disheveled, waiting until the phone rang for the 8th time before leisurely pressing the answer button and launching into a scolding tirade into the receiver. Linsu, are you crazy? It's Saturday. You might not need sleep, but I do, calling so early in the morning. Are you trying to rush me to my grave? Linsu asked, his voice trembling. Yeah, the protective charm I gave you, you have it with you, right? You've been keeping it with you all along, right? Every day you ask. It's so annoying. Didn't you see me put it in the pouch with your own eyes? I've been wearing that pouch close to me all the time. What more do you want? Through the surveillance screen, I saw his gaze fixed dazedly on a point in the void. Then he struggled to look away, and finally closed his eyes directly. I just care about you. Yes, care about you, he hurriedly replied to me, his fingers trembling as he pressed the hang-up button, but he couldn't manage to press it. In the end, I kindly pressed the hang-up button for him, and only then did he successfully end the call. Then he took out his phone and searched for a while, his eyes fixed on the screen as if he had found a satisfactory result. And a faint smile curled at the corner of his mouth. Great, it turns out I just have a mental problem. That's great. This realization seemed to completely relax him. Linsu straightened his collar and gave my still shaken parents an apologetic smile. Sorry, uncle and aunt, I had a bit of a health issue. Did I scare you? The two quickly shook their heads, exchanged a glance, and hesitantly asked, Linshu, what was that just now? Oh, I must have missed Anin so much that I was able to see her. Watching him deceive himself, I couldn't help but chuckle softly, taking a screenshot of his forced composure at this moment. Don't rush, it's only the 11th day. Linsu's condition was deteriorating day by day. On the 11th day, he only occasionally caught glimpses of Lin En's shadow, but as time went on, Lin En appeared more and more frequently, and Linsu's emotions grew increasingly unstable day by day. He went from asking me once a day about the whereabouts of the talisman to twice, 3 times, and even more times a day. Each time, I would show him the pouch and even take out the so-called talisman a few times to show him. Of course, it wasn't a real talisman, just a prop talisman paper that cost 2 yuan on Pinduoduo, but he believed it wholeheartedly. However, recently, he has started trying to get my current address out of me, which has raised my alertness. I try to minimize going out, but that's not entirely safe, so I simply took my annual leave, planning to stay at home for these 10+ days. Just as I was comfortably enjoying my vacation, a colleague sent me a message. Yeah, has something happened at your home recently? Yesterday, a middle-aged couple came to our company and caused a big scene, claiming to be your parents. They insisted that our company is exploiting you and demanded an explanation. In the end, they threw a bank card at the boss, telling him to deposit your salary into that card from now on, or they would sue the company. Do you know what's going on? I was so angry I laughed. These scumbag parents, unable to get any advantage from me, actually went to the company to make a scene. It seems they haven't been doing well lately either. Otherwise, they wouldn't risk their precious daughter's body being harmed by me just to force me to show up. I decisively denied it. My parents, brother, son. You know my family situation. I grew up with my grandma, and my parents were never around. I've even forgotten what they look like. How could a pair of parents suddenly appear out of nowhere? Are they scammers? The boss didn't transfer any money to them, did he? Blame themselves then. I specifically chose to work in the city where they settled to be closer to them, but they don't want to see me and even told me not to mention their whereabouts to others, all because my sister might get upset. So, my explanation was accepted. Brother Sun replied quickly, Phew, that's a relief. Of course, I didn't transfer the money. These scammers are really getting bold these days, daring to use such tricks. I chatted with him for a few more moments before switching out of the chat window and clicking back into the surveillance feed. Seeing Lin Su's crazed appearance and my parents looking as timid as quails, not even daring to breathe loudly, my unsettled mood finally eased a bit. Lin Su's current state is strange. Facing someone like him all day, my parents are terrified, but since this is their house, they naturally can't leave, yet they don't dare to kick out the current Lin Su, so they can only live in constant fear while dealing with him. So, it's true that sometimes it takes a villain to deal with a villain. Almost there, almost there. I looked at the date on my phone, calculating in my mind. On the 21st day, I pretended to be weak and took the initiative to call Lin Su. Hello. The phone rang for a long time before it was answered. Lin Su's voice was hoarse, with a faint hint of madness. Lin Su, why have I been dreaming about Anan so often lately? She even said she would come to find me. What do you think she means by that? I pinched my throat, trying to make my voice sound choked with tears, making it sound even more helpless. I see. Yeah. Don't overthink it. You just miss Anan too much. It's just a dream. On the other end of the monitor, Lin Su's expression gradually softened, and the corners of his mouth slightly lifted, revealing his first smile in days. On the other side of the screen, I mirrored the smile. Of course, I had to temporarily keep him steady. After all, this was already the third stage, and I had no idea what symptoms he might develop. If he went crazy prematurely, it wouldn't be as fun. After hanging up the phone, his lips kept twitching, lifting and dropping in a nervous, repetitive manner, over and over again. What was even more bizarre was that his expression was only half-formed. He could fully control his body, yet the nerves in his face seemed to have malfunctioned, allowing him to make only half an expression. He skillfully opened the search interface, entered his current condition, and after receiving another scientific answer, felt even more at ease. I'm just sick, that's all. I told you, I didn't see any talisman. Lin Su seemed to have reverted to being that gentleman, treating everything around him with courtesy, yet the people around him drifted even further away. He could only control one eye, and he didn't often look in the mirror, so of course he didn't know. His two eyes would turn in different directions. Time gradually progressed, and finally, the 30th day arrived. I watched the numbers flickering on my phone, counting silently in my heart. There's still half an hour left. The moment has finally arrived. I couldn't wait any longer and called Lin Su. This time, he answered quickly, his tone filled with undisguised anticipation. It seems I'm not the only one looking forward to what comes next, but Lin Su, I hope you can maintain such optimistic expectations even after knowing the truth. And then, is that you? Have you come back? Lin Su's voice carried a hint of emotion and a touch of longing, truly portraying the image of a sentimental soul. What are you thinking? Anan has been gone for so long. It's me, Linya. I rolled my eyes hard, no longer hiding my disdain for him. Are you out of your mind? I must have been blind to have fallen for you. What? You're not Anan? My answer left him shocked, or to be more precise, horrified, because according to his plan, I should have been completely replaced by Linen. Anan, stop messing around. You're lying to me, right? I tapped my fingers on the table, crossed my legs, and said leisurely, you're the one who should stop messing with me. I came here to tell you some news. Lin Su is still in a daze, seemingly not listening to my words at all. No. Is it not the right time? It must be that the time hasn't come yet. I stared at him intently, unable to hold back the corners of my mouth any longer. Lin Su, listen to me. I've always had something to tell you, but I never found the right moment. However, I feel I can't keep it from you any longer. He asked me somewhat absent-mindedly. Oh, what is it? Is it important? It's just, I drew out my words. The amulet you gave me, I accidentally dropped it into the juice I made for you. I only realized it after I got home and opened my purse. I was afraid you'd be angry, so I just bought a random charm to carry. The air fell into silence for a moment. Lin Su stiffly turned his neck, his eyes fixed intently on the screen as if trying to pierce through it to see me on the other side. What did you say? Looking at his unwillingness to accept reality, I kindly emphasized, that piece talisman was crushed by the blender, and you drank every last bit of it. I'm sorry, Lin Su, I didn't mean to. It was all an accident, as expected. It was nothing more than an accident. Yeah. Don't scare me. You're joking with me, right? Stop messing around. Yeah, this joke isn't funny at all. No, that's not right. You're Anan, aren't you? Anan, you really are something. How could you play such a big joke on me as soon as you got back? I said with dissatisfaction. What's wrong with you today? You keep calling me Anan. I'm not joking with you. It's just a talisman. It won't kill anyone. Why would I joke about something like that? Not joking. Ha. Lin Su laughed maniacally, throwing a fierce punch into the air. He threw his phone to the ground, smashed everything around him, and cursed wildly. Linya, you bitch, I hope you die a horrible death. You jinx, you cursed loner. Whore, I'm going to kill you. Ha, you knew all along, didn't you? You knew all along, didn't you? Lin Su, have you gone mad? it's just a talisman. Besides, didn't you say this talisman brings good luck? Then wouldn't eating it make the effect even better? Beep, beep, beep. I hung up the phone, focusing intently on the developments on the screen. Get out of my body. As time passed, the abnormalities on Lin Su's body increased. His voice began to change, alternating between a male voice and a female voice. Gradually, his facial features underwent a subtle, almost magical transformation, appearing to soften somewhat. The time slowly ticked to the 30th minute. I held my breath, watching Lin Su, who was still smashing things relentlessly. Ha ha ha, Linya, your body is mine now. At that moment, Linen's consciousness fully awakened within Lin Su's body. She burst into a twisted laugh, but the laughter abruptly stopped when she saw her surroundings clearly. Ah, Linya, what have you done to my home? Watching her familiar home turn into ruins, Linya screamed in horror using Lin Su's body. His left side of the mouth opened and closed, emitting a voice completely different from the right side. Even more bizarrely, the left half of his body was uncontrollably stiff, while the right half continued to frantically smash and destroy. What is this? Get out of my body. Get out now. Lin Su noticed this. His right face twisted into a roar, but his left face did not synchronize. Lin Su was both shocked and terrified. He swung his right fist and struck his left face hard. Lin Su's left cheek was struck, yet he felt no pain. The left side of his mouth let out a pained cry, but it was Linen's voice. Linen covered his left cheek, unable to believe it. Brother Lin Su, how is it you? Why am I in your body? Shouldn't I be in Linya's body? Lin Su's movements were fierce as he punched the left side of the body where Linen resided, blow after blow. If you know, then get out. Go find Linya. Don't come looking for me. Linen immediately screamed loudly. Impossible. This is my body too. If anyone's leaving, it should be you. The two of them exchanged blows, each trying to land a fatal hit, leaving no opening for the other soul to take advantage. The scene on the screen was extremely bloody, yet I felt my blood boiling with exhilaration. You only know the pain when the knife is thrust into your own flesh. You didn't hesitate to sacrifice me, and you loved my sister to death. But when it's your turn, you can't bear it and tell her to get lost. Although this outcome deviates from what I expected, the deviation brings me even greater joy. A true dual soul, never to be separated. Lin Su and Linen must both be quite satisfied, right? How deeply they love each other. When my parents rushed home, Lin Su's hands and feet had already been broken, and the ground was covered in blood, yet the two souls were still arguing. Get out of my body. Get out, you're the one who should get out. Didn't you love me the most? Then why can't you give your body to me? Get out. The two of them were completely stunned, and my mother let out a wail as she rushed forward. My house. Lin Su, what are you doing? Suddenly, the two souls stopped arguing and, for the first time, reached a consensus. Staring straight at the elderly couple, living people, living person, the two spoke in unison. Then, with their twisted bodies, they swiftly and fiercely pounced on her, aiming for her neck, and bit down hard. Blood splattered, flesh and tissue flew everywhere. Before her mother could even let out a scream, she instantly lost all signs of life, seeing the situation turning unfavorable. Dad quickly tried to run, but was still pounced on by the two. Smack. I snapped my phone shut, my heart pounding wildly. I had considered all sorts of possibilities, but never once did I imagine that Lin Su and Linen would actually kill my parents. This is just too abnormal. No, that talisman was never a good thing to begin with, so it's no surprise it has side effects. Could it be that in my past life, overthinking won't help? I quickly dialed the police. Hello, 911. I need to report a crime. My parents have been murdered, but I was still a step too late. It is said that when the police arrived, there were only two bodies lying in a pool of blood, their flesh mangled and unrecognizable, while Lin Su was nowhere to be found. My heart sank. I had a premonition that he, or they, would definitely come looking for me. This premonition of mine was soon confirmed. Late that night, my doorbell suddenly rang. Through the peephole, I saw Lin Su standing outside the door, completely unharmed. His eyes were bloodshot, and a strange smile hung at the corner of his mouth. Yeah, I know you're in there. I've avenged you. Hurry up and open the door. As he spoke, he suddenly raised the object in his right hand toward the peephole. My heart raced, and I instinctively took a step back. It was actually the head of an old man with a white beard. Yeah, this is the master who harmed you. He actually dared to call you a cursed loner and gave me this evil talisman. He deserved to die. I've avenged you. Are you happy? Hurry up and open the door. Let me in. Linya, you bitch. Why don't you just die? I'm going to kill you. Lin Su seemed to have used some method to gain the upper hand. Linen roared wildly within his body but could no longer control it. When mentioning the talisman, his tone grew heavier. Rather than using revenge for me as an excuse, it was more likely that he himself wanted revenge, even at a time like this. He still can't forget to drape himself in a righteous banner. I took a few deep breaths, opened the small window of the security door, and looked at him through it. His breathing instantly grew heavier, then he seemed to suppress it as if holding back. Lin-Su, what brings you here so late? I haven't forgotten how you scolded me yet. I pretended to look angry. Stop pretending. Yeah, you've been reborn too, haven't you? It was all because of that despicable woman, Linen, who drove a wedge between us, preventing us from being together. I love you, yeah. My heart skipped a beat. Lin-Su has actually been reborn, but that explains why he could gain the upper hand, because a soul that has lived twice is stronger than Lin-N's soul. This is really great. Such revenge is even more meaningful. I don't understand what you mean. I slowly curved the corners of my mouth, but my tone remained calm. You admitted it, right? Yeah. Open the door quickly, so we can be together forever. Linya, damn it, why can't you just die? Why can't you give me your body? No one expects you to live. Shut up. Yeah. Don't listen to her. Open the door for me. I really do love you. Believe me. Look, I even killed for you. Isn't that enough to prove my love? I looked at him, tilted my head, and suddenly said, Lin-Su, of course I believe you. I'll open the door right now. His face instantly lit up with excitement, staring straight at me as if I were his prey. Great. Yeah. I knew it. I knew you loved me. You're different from everyone else. I want to be with you forever. Linya, my dear sister, I was just saying those things in anger. How could I ever hate you? Come out quickly. Mom and Dad are waiting for you too. Let's reunite as a family. I smiled and approached the viewing window, nodding slowly. Then, under the disbelieving gazes of the two, my expression turned utterly ferocious. A surge of intense black energy erupted behind me, transforming into two arms that pierced through the security door, seized the souls of the two, and tore them apart piece by piece. Impossible. How could this be? This can't be happening. Lin-Su and Linen turned to flee, but it was already too late. Their souls were caught right on the spot, and they watched helplessly as their souls were torn to pieces. Didn't expect this, did you, Lin-Su? I am indeed reborn. But unlike you, I was reborn with resentment. If it weren't for capturing both of you in one fell swoop, I wouldn't have waited until today. I will make you both taste my pain. I tore their souls into 108 pieces, and it wasn't until their souls turned to dust that my powerful resentment finally dissipated completely. From now on, I am a pure human being. Having lost his soul, Lin-Su's body stood there in a daze. Yet still breathing, reduced to a state akin to that of a vegetative person, I simply called the police, explained the situation, and waited for them to come and take his body away. Technology cannot detect resentment. After checking the surveillance footage, the police only saw him screaming frantically at my door, talking to himself, while I communicated with him through a closed door the entire time. Coupled with his prior history of murder, the police quickly took his body away. Now, it's finally over. I'm going to start a new life too. I inherited all of my parents' estate. Besides the house I knew about, they actually owned another fully paid-off house, which was a gift specifically for my sister's rebirth. In the end, it all ended up benefiting me. The day after I received this inheritance, I went to their graves and told them everything. After all, I had died once, and with the matters of Lin-Su and Linen, I naturally knew that souls existed. So I went to crush their spirits. Dad, Mom, that fortune teller was really accurate. I did indeed bring misfortune to your entire family, and I even got your inheritance. Sigh, if you hadn't pulled this stunt, I might not have gotten all this, but after all your scheming, I ended up the biggest winner. Your spirits in heaven must be very pleased, right? In a daze, I seemed to hear that familiar, furious curse, you wretch. May you die a miserable death, a miserable death. I should have strangled you right then and there. The breeze brushed past, leaving nothing behind, only my final words still lingering in the air. I'll come back again, when I'm doing better. That concludes the first story. Don't go away. The next story is even more exciting. Since childhood, my mother has always favored my younger brother, treating me with nothing but beatings and scoldings. Because the fortune teller said that among the twin siblings, one was a lucky star, and the other was a disaster star. As a mute, I naturally became the disaster star in my parents' eyes. They raised me with abuse, just to exchange me for a bride price to marry off my brother, but they didn't know that I could not only speak, but I was also a word spirit. Words become law. What I say will come true. Those who have bullied me will pay the price. I am a word spirit who has been worshipped for 100 years. I pleaded with the Heavenly Father for a long time before he allowed me to take human form and come to the mortal world to undergo trials. When I was in my mother's womb in the mortal world, I heard her pray every day, hoping to give birth to a son. Thus, I exhausted my protective magic power and transformed my twin sister, a natural-born calamity, into a younger brother, and used my magic power to suppress her calamitous fate. I arbitrarily used my magic power to alter my sister's fate and received divine punishment. From birth, I was unable to speak. It wasn't until I was 5 years old, when I slowly regained a bit of my magic power, that I could finally speak. By the age of 18, the magical power will be completely unsealed. The fortune teller said that among the twin siblings, one is a lucky star, while the other is a disaster star. From the moment he was born, the younger brother was plump and fair-skinned. With a loud cry, as if surrounded by a layer of golden light, the midwife said that this child must be a lucky star. As if to confirm the midwife's words, the sky, which had been raining for half a month, miraculously cleared up. Even a rainbow appeared. Everyone firmly believed that my younger brother was a lucky star. Naturally, I became the one considered the jinx. But they don't know that the golden light on my brother is transformed by my magical power. That rainbow is a gift from the Heavenly Father to me, and if my brother leaves the protection of my magical power, he will become a true calamity. Without my magical power, I am thin and small, like a little kitten. This child doesn't cry, probably a mute, and a girl at that. Raising her would just waste food, might as well drown her in the bucket. Dad made a move to pick me up and throw me into the bucket to drown me. Mom stopped him. Forget it, let's just raise her. It's just one more mouth to feed. When she gets married later, we can get a dowry in return to help our precious son find a wife. Dad thought it made sense too, so he kept me. Mom fed my brother milk every day, while I could only drink a little of the leftover rice water. When my brother was learning to walk, he fell and hit his head, then pointed at me and wailed. Mom was convinced that I had deliberately pushed my brother down and harmed him. She said I was a malicious jinx. Born to bring misfortune to my younger brother, she took a slender vine and beat my buttocks until the skin split and the flesh tore. No one treated the wounds, and within a few days they festered, causing me to run a high fever for a day and a night. My younger brother, being mischievous, stole our father's lighter to play with and accidentally set fire to the firewood in the kitchen, nearly burning the entire house down. He knew he had caused trouble and stuffed the lighter into my pocket. Mom used that long, thin cane again, striking me over and over. She hit me while cursing. You jinx, you money loser, why didn't you burn to death? Stinky jinx, dead mute. That wasn't enough. To teach me a lesson, she used that lighter to set fire to my already sparse hair. A foul, burnt smell rushed into my nostrils. My scalp burned fiercely. Terrified, tears streamed down my face, and I had no idea what to do. Only when my scalp was burned red and swollen, with blisters forming. Did my mother pour a ladle of water over my head? After the wounds on my scalp scabbed over, my hair never grew back, leaving patches of baldness scattered across my head. My younger brother clapped his hands, laughing at me, calling me a scabby-headed freak, an ugly monster. My mother pushed me away in disgust, telling me, this ugly monster, to stay away from my brother and not dirty his eyes. I feel so wronged. I really want to cry. I really want to tell Mom, I didn't start the fire. And I'm not an ugly monster, not a jinx, I am a word spirit. Words become reality, everything I say comes true. Once I regain my magical powers, I will definitely make them wealthy and prosperous for the rest of their lives. But I can't speak, and I have no way to prove to my parents that I am not a harbinger of misfortune. When I was 3 years old, the big yellow dog our family kept was injured by my younger brother. The big yellow dog was my only friend. It would wag its tail at me and lick my wounds. In winter, when my bed was too cold, I would sneak into the big yellow dog's kennel to keep each other warm. But now, it lay on the ground, whimpering, with tears glistening in its eyes. On its back, a deep knife wound was bleeding, a shocking sight. It must have been in great pain, but like me, it couldn't speak. My younger brother clamored to eat dog meat, and my father took a knife. Intending to kill the big yellow dog, I held the dying big yellow dog, knelt before my father, and kowtowed, begging him not to kill my friend. But my father kicked me away, and my head hit the whetstone, leaving me dizzy and bleeding profusely. I struggled to stand up, clinging to my father's leg, crying and gesturing, begging him to give my friend back to me. My younger brother picked up stones from the ground, throwing them at me while cursing, "You dumb mute. You're making me miss out on the meat, I'll beat you to death." A large bump swelled up on my forehead. My father kept praising my brother, saying how great he was and how accurate his aim was. Mom kissed my brother's face over and over, also chiming in to praise him for being strong and a real man. I watched with my own eyes as Dad hung the big yellow dog with a rope and skinned it. The big yellow dog screamed in excruciating pain, perhaps realizing it wouldn't survive. Its eyes, filled with tears, looked at me, as if saying goodbye to me. My younger brother clapped his hands beside me, happily shouting, "Meat, meat." At that moment, I regretted it. I shouldn't have exhausted my magical power to turn my sister into a brother, giving him the chance to do evil. If I still had my protective magic, the big yellow dog wouldn't have died. I lost my only friend. I picked up the bones they had spat out and buried the big yellow dog. I hope it will be reborn into a better life in its next incarnation. My younger brother insisted that I pretend to be a dog to play with him, so my mother threw my tattered quilt into the doghouse. From then on, I could only sleep in the doghouse and eat dog food. My younger brother made me learn to stick out my tongue like the big yellow dog and crawl on the ground, round and round. My hands and knees were scraped until they bled. I turned to my mother for help, but she didn't even look at me. Her loving gaze followed my brother, who was having a great time playing, and she gently reminded him to slow down and not fall. My brother threw the gnawed chicken bone up in the air, making me jump to catch it. There was still some chicken left on the bone that my brother hadn't finished eating. That was the first time I tasted the flavor of meat. I was 5 years old that year. Dad worked as a miner in the mine on the other side of the mountain. During the new year, Mom dressed my younger brother in newly bought clothes and took him to the mine to celebrate the new year with Dad. She thought I was a jinx and a mute, and considered me unlucky, so she locked me in the pigsty, leaving only a bowl of watery porridge with barely any rice in it for me. I was cold, hungry, and scared, huddled in the corner, hugging myself, for 3 whole days. Just as I was about to faint from hunger, a sharp pain shot through my chest. I sensed that the magical power on my younger brother was fading, and the power of the Calamity Star had emerged, about to bring death to his closest kin. I suddenly snapped awake, and with strength I didn't know I had, I desperately shook the door of the pig pen. I quickly escaped, wearing thin clothes, and ran toward the direction of the mine in the cold wind. It's just that I was too small, the road was too long. I fell down and got back up again. My feet were covered in blisters, mixed with blood, a truly horrifying sight. I walked for an entire day and finally reached the place where my father worked. Suddenly, there was a loud boom, the ground shook, the mountains trembled, and cries filled the air. The mine collapsed. Amid the ruins, my mother held my younger brother, weeping bitterly. When she saw me, without a word, she rushed over and slapped me to the ground. "It's all because of you, you jinx, you mute. Why did you have to come? It was you who brought death upon your father. If I had known earlier, I should have killed you when you were born. You killed my husband, you made my son lose his father. You deserve to die. Why don't you just die?" My younger brother also picked up a stone from the ground and threw it at me. "Give me back my dad. Give me back my dad. You killed my dad. I'll beat you to death." Above his head, the golden magical energy grew fainter and fainter, while the dark aura grew thicker and thicker. I was beaten until my head was bleeding, the pain making my whole body tremble. I wanted to shout out loud that I didn't cause my dad's death, that I'm not a jinx, but no matter how hard I strained my throat, I couldn't make a single sound. I desperately clawed at the dirt on the ground with both hands, all 10 fingers covered in blood, already numb from the pain. Dad was buried underneath. I am a spirit speaker. Even though my powers haven't fully recovered, if I pray with all my heart, I can definitely save him. Out of the 17 miners who went down into the mine this time, only my dad survived. He was carried on a stretcher by the rescue team, with only a few scratches on his body, but because he had been buried underground for 3 days and could only rely on a pot of water to stave off hunger, he now had no strength. He told everyone that his son was a lucky star, and he must have been blessed by his son's good fortune. The mother was overjoyed and rushed over with her younger brother. Suddenly, the ground beneath his feet instantly collapsed. Strangely, the rescue workers were completely unharmed, but Mom broke her arm, my brother hit his head and bled profusely, and Dad happened to fall onto a steel bar, which pierced through his thigh. If the steel bar couldn't be removed smoothly, he would have to have his leg amputated and be disabled for life. Mom had one arm in a cast, and the other hand was like a sledgehammer, pounding my face and body over and over again. It made my head buzz and I fell to the ground. My younger brother, with a bandage wrapped around his head, spat at me viciously. He even stomped on my fingers with his foot. He said his head injury was because I brought him bad luck, and he wanted me to suffer 100 times the pain he felt. My father pointed at my nose and cursed at me, telling me to get out. He had just narrowly escaped death and wanted me to stay away from him, to stop bringing him bad luck. He even picked up a cup filled with water and threw it at me. My forehead was split open, and liquid began to flow down. I couldn't tell if it was blood, water, or tears. "It's not me. I came to save Dad," I screamed in my heart, but I couldn't utter a single word, only letting them beat and curse me. "I'm in so much pain. Heavenly Father, I suddenly don't want to be human anymore." Father's leg was saved, but he had to stay in bed for several months, with no one to work and no income. They argued every day, to save a little food. They didn't give me anything to eat. I could only eat wild grass and desperately fill my stomach with water to stave off hunger. The old lady next door, seeing how pitiful I was, secretly slipped me an egg. My younger brother saw it, snatched the egg from me, and falsely accused me of stealing eggs from home. The eggs at home are exclusively for my younger brother. For 5 years, I never knew what an egg tasted like. My mother was so angry that she used the dog leash that had once tied me up to hang me, whipping me with a rattan cane until I was covered in blood. She said I was a jinx, that the family's poverty was all because of me. She told me to die. I bit my lip hard, tears welling up in my eyes, but stubbornly refused to let them fall. I am already 5 years old, but I don't want to speak. I don't want to use my powers to restore my father's health and make life better for the family. I no longer expect my parents' love and affection. I don't want them anymore. My aunt came to see my father with a basket of eggs. When she saw me being hung up and beaten, she quickly stopped my mother. She held me in her arms with heartache and said sternly to my mother, "Shufin, how can you be a mother? How can you be so cruel? She is your daughter." My mother stood with one hand on her hip and the other waving a rattan cane. "She is not my daughter. She is a jinx that harms my whole family. She is here to bring bad luck to my precious son and waste the family's food. I don't have a daughter like her. I wish I could kill this damn mute." With that, Mom tried to drag me out of Auntie's arms to hit me again. Auntie shielded me in her arms. "If you don't want her, I do. If you won't raise her, I will." Auntie took out all the money in the house and gave it to Mom, a total of 109 yuan. Mother counted the stack of loose change, her words dripping with sarcasm. "She's just a worthless girl, a mute. If she ends up bringing ruin to your family in the future, don't come blaming me. I'll raise my daughter well. Don't you dare come back begging for her later." And didn't even glance at father as she took me home. Aunt's house was in the neighboring village, just a 20-minute walk away, but her home was truly poor. One could say it was bare and empty, yet there was a warm feeling to it. Her uncle was a dark-skinned farmer, and because they were so poor, my mother looked down on this impoverished relative, so the two families didn't interact much. My aunt applied medicine to my wound and said she would adopt me. My uncle's dark face broke into a wide grin, revealing a set of bright white teeth, his eyes brimming with excitement. "You mean, from now on, this is my daughter?" "I have a daughter." I was afraid my uncle wouldn't like me. Who would have thought? He was so happy he spun around like a child, wiping his hands on his clothes over and over, squatting in front of me, wanting to hug me but afraid of scaring me. "From now on, you'll be called Xiaoyu. Okay, you're the precious jade that your aunt and uncle hold in the palms of their hands." I don't have a name. Mom and Dad never gave me a name. They always called me things like jinx, money loser, little disaster, or mute, Xiaoyu. I really liked this name. I mustered up my courage and threw myself into my uncle's arms. He visibly stiffened all over, then turned and picked me up, holding me together with my aunt, laughing happily. After a while, his brows furrowed. "Why is my daughter so thin? This won't do. She needs to be nourished." With that, he grabbed a knife and rushed energetically toward the chicken coop. That day, I had my first bowl of chicken soup in my life. It was only later that I learned that hen was the only chicken my aunt's family had, kept specifically for laying eggs to sell and supplement the household income. The old lady next door, upon hearing that my aunt had adopted a daughter, hobbled over on her cane and brought 2 eggs. "Give these to the girl. Don't let her go hungry." I quietly recited a spell, wishing this kind-hearted old lady good health. Words become law. She didn't notice, but her steps on the way back were much steadier. In just a few days, she would be able to throw away her cane and walk briskly. I picked up a hard lump and brought it home. After washing it clean, it was golden yellow, about half the size of my fist, and quite heavy. The next day, my uncle took that hard lump into the city. When he returned, he bought a lot of things, even got me new clothes, and his wallet was bulging. That was gold. It sold for a full 20,000 yuan. That was 5 or 6 years' worth of harvest for a farmer. They each kissed me on the cheek, one on the left and one on the right, and my uncle even picked me up and spun me around in circles. He said that ever since I arrived, they had started having good luck, and I was their lucky star. I smiled, keeping my achievements and reputation hidden. My aunt and uncle discussed that now that we had money, they should take me to the hospital to treat my muteness. Upon hearing this, I grew anxious. We couldn't waste money. I quickly tugged at their sleeves and shouted the words I had rehearsed countless times in my heart. "Dad, Mom." They were stunned. Yes, my precious daughter, uncle, oh no, my new dad, was both crying and laughing. My new mom was also wiping away tears, laughing and scolding Dad for being so emotional. Great, I have real parents now. They tell everyone they meet that I am their lucky star. Life at home is getting better day by day. Mom raised a flock of chicks, saying that when they grow up, all the eggs will be for me to eat. Dad gave me a little puppy, which looks exactly like the old yellow dog, but it has a patch of multicolored fur on its back, like a birthmark. As soon as it saw me, it wagged its tail and wanted me to hold it. Every day, I would play wildly with little Yellow in the fields. The villagers were very kind to me and often gave me candy. The weather was getting hotter, and the rice planted in the village began to sprout. I stand by each paddy field, murmuring to myself, The villagers ask me what I'm saying. I put on a mysterious air. I'm reasoning with the rice plants, telling them to grow tall and bear full grains, so that all the uncles and elders can have a bountiful harvest. Everyone laughs heartily. No one saw it, but rays of golden light enveloped the rice fields, radiating vibrant vitality. Within a few days, the rice ears in the fields grew large and plump, bending the stalks under their weight. Soon, the rice fields turned a brilliant golden yellow, and the villagers reaped a bountiful harvest. Everyone jokingly said it was all thanks to me reasoning with the rice, calling me the village's lucky star. That day, our family of 3 was having a meal when the little yellow dog kept barking incessantly. It turned out to be my birth mother and younger brother, standing with their hands on their hips, cursing at the door. "You damn mute, you ungrateful wretch, how dare you steal my gold? Hurry up and give it back to me." Hearing the commotion, the neighbors from left and right all came out with their bowls and chopsticks to watch the spectacle. Her biological mother was quite pleased with the situation she had created. She held the cane that had struck me countless times, brandishing it fiercely as if I had committed some heinous crime. "Deaf mute, give me back the gold you stole, and I won't hold it against you, otherwise, I'll beat you to death, you worthless thing." My younger brother mimicked his mother's stance, hands on his hips, spitting at me and issuing a harsh command. "Yes, give it back, all the gold in this house is mine. You don't deserve to use my family's gold. You're a thief, I'll beat you to death, you thief." After not seeing him for a few months, my younger brother has grown stronger than before, and the dark aura around his head has become even more intense. He will bring misfortune to his parents, and once my magical power completely fades, he will become a true harbinger of disaster. Although I don't like this younger brother, I can't use the power of words to harm him either. I just need to watch coldly from the sidelines, and he will have his own fate. My younger brother stared at the new sneakers on my feet, his eyes gleaming with envy. "You dare to wear new shoes? I don't even have such nice shoes. Mom said you're a waste of money, a worthless person, and the only reason you're kept alive is to exchange you for a bride price so I can get a wife. You only deserve to be my dog. I order you to take off those shoes right now." The birth mother also brandished a rattan cane and lunged forward. "You damned wretch, how dare you steal my money to buy such nice shoes? Take them off and give them to your brother right now, or I'll beat you to death." My mother quickly shielded me in her arms. My father grabbed the rattan cane the birth mother was swinging and pushed her back several steps. "All right, Lifugue, you dare to hit me. Everyone, come and see. My sister-in-law's family is heartless. They snatched my child, stole my gold, took my son's new shoes, and even resorted to violence. Is there no justice in this world?" The biological mother plopped down on the ground, wiping away non-existent tears, wailing and howling, twisting the truth, and first pinned a major accusation on Mom and Dad. Dad's face darkened, and he was at a loss for words, utterly helpless against the shrew's unreasonable pestering. Mom angrily pointed at her and said, "You're talking nonsense. Xiaoyu is the one you abandoned. She was nearly beaten to death by you. A heartless, cruel woman. I only took her in to care for her. She's my daughter now. My daughter absolutely did not steal your gold. Don't you wrong Xiaoyu," the birth mother immediately retorted. "Ha, you're a hen that can't lay eggs yourself. You've been married to Lifugue, that poor wretch, for 10 years and haven't produced a single thing. Since you can't have children, you think it's only natural to snatch someone else's daughter. You're just eyeing my family's gold, so you told this worthless girl to steal it. You shameless wretch. Give me back my gold right now." Mom and Dad have been married for 10 years, but she has never been able to conceive a child. Although Dad didn't mind, Mom always felt sorry for him. These words from the birth mother undoubtedly rubbed salt in Mom's wounds. Both Dad and Mom are kind people who have never raised their voices at others. When it comes to arguing or being unreasonable, they are naturally no match for the birth mother. She trembled with anger. "I didn't." The birth mother was quite smug. "You don't? Then how do you explain that your family was dirt poor, but after snatching my daughter away, your family suddenly exchanged gold for a large sum of money, and just so happens, my family lost some gold. If it weren't for someone telling me that they saw Lifugue sneaking into the city to sell gold a while back, I would still be in the dark." Everyone, come and see. The Li family are thieves. If any of you are missing something, it must have been stolen by them. Dad sold the gold and made such a large sum of money, so naturally, he kept it quiet and didn't tell anyone. The villagers simply thought they had sold some new rice and made a bit of money, which was why they had recently added so many things to their home. When my birth mother said this, it was inevitable that some people would become suspicious. My parents were filled with shame and anger, unable to defend themselves. I tugged at my parents' hands, signaling them to stay calm. I walked up to my birth mother. Just a few months ago, I was malnourished, sallow, and emaciated. But now I had gained a bit of weight, and my face was rosy. There was no longer any trace of the childlike admiration I once had for her in my eyes. "You said I stole your gold, so tell me, what does your gold look like?" My birth mother seemed taken aback that I had spoken, and she froze in place. It took a long moment for me to react, and I waved the rattan cane, ready to hit me as I had done before. "You little wretch. What do you care what my gold looks like? It was you who stole my gold. You ungrateful thing, I'll beat you to death." Chinjiabo also rushed over, trying to snatch the new shoes off my feet. A cane descended from the sky, striking my birth mother's head with a crisp sound. "Who dares to lay a hand on this girl? It's the old lady from next door. Just a while ago, she was still walking unsteadily, but now she moves with agility, striding swiftly. In just a few steps, she rushed into my yard and kicked Chinjiabo flying with a single kick." "My precious son." The birth mother let out a cry of alarm and quickly pulled Chinjiabo into her arms. That was her lifeblood. How could she allow an old woman to bully him? She immediately rolled up her sleeves, ready to fight the old woman. But the old woman was the champion of the previous generation, and the birth mother was no match for her at all. The old woman swiftly gave the birth mother a few hard slaps and even found a moment to wink playfully at me. Then, before his biological mother could react, he plopped down on the ground and began wailing like a banshee. "Help, murder, someone's trying to kill this old lady. Oh dear, my leg's about to break, I'm having a heart attack, call an ambulance, this old woman needs to go to the ICU." This display of throwing a tantrum and extorting others can be described as a preemptive strike, catching the biological mother off guard, leaving her face alternating between green and white. I can't beat her. And my parents aren't the type to resort to violence. Having the old lady deal with the biological mother is a good choice. I quietly gave a thumbs up to the old lady who winked at me. The neighbors, never one to shy away from drama, quickly revealed the old lady's background in just a few words. "Rich lady, I'd advise you not to provoke the old lady. Her son is from the underworld." "That's right, if you anger her son, losing an arm or a leg would be considered merciful." Although the birth mother strutted around the house all day, she only dared to bully the weak and fear the strong. Hearing that the old lady had such a powerful background, she was so frightened that she quickly took several steps back. She lay down on her own. "It has nothing to do with me. You all have to testify for me. She even hit me. I just came to get that wretched girl to return the gold." Seeing everyone watching her performance with wide eyes but unwilling to testify for her, she nearly broke down. Mimicking the old lady, she also plopped down on the ground. "Heavens above, I just came to get my gold back, and I got beaten and framed." Suddenly, she glared at me fiercely and screamed hysterically. "You wretched girl, you ungrateful wretch, you'll be struck by lightning from heaven. I carried you for 10 months, gave birth to you, and raised you with my own hands, yet you side with outsiders. How could my fate be so bitter? I don't care, you must give me the gold, otherwise I'll die right here." I calmly replied, "If you can prove the gold is yours, I'll return it to you." Seeing me relent, my birth mother rolled her eyes, raised her hand, and swore, "I swear. The gold is mine." "What if it isn't?" "If I say it is, then it is." The neighbors around us stirred things up. "If she doesn't even dare to swear, it definitely isn't hers." The birth mother was angry at those people for gossiping, but she was already in a difficult position and had no choice but to go all out. "If it's not mine, then..." She looked up at the clear sky and declared with conviction, "May I be struck by lightning." I smiled and quietly recited a spell, saying, "As you wish. If the gold is not yours, may you be struck by lightning." Words become law. A golden light transformed into a golden dragon, soaring into the sky for thousands of miles. Boom, a white light tore through the sky, followed by deafening thunder, and that lightning bolt struck the biological mother's head with pinpoint accuracy. In an instant, her hair was scorched and disheveled, her face turned ashen and blackened, and she stood there dumbfounded. The gods have shown their power. The wealthy family's sister-in-law angered the deities and was struck by lightning. The villagers cowed out and bowed to the now clear sky, shouting that the gods had shown their power and praying for their protection. I did not intend to take her life, only to intimidate, so even if struck by lightning, it wouldn't be fatal. She stood there in a daze for several minutes, then let out a puff of smoke from her mouth and pointed at me, screaming in disbelief, "Ah, a jinx, a monster. She's a monster." After shouting, she ignored Chinjiabao's crying and fussing as he tried to snatch my new sneakers, grabbed him, covered her head, and made a quick escape. Much later, I heard that on her way back, she fell into a manure pit and nearly drowned. This time, being struck by lightning and narrowly escaping death scared her out of her wits. She became even more convinced that I was a jinx, born specifically to bring her misfortune. and the reason she survived was because her precious son was a lucky star. It was the protective aura of the lucky star that saved her. When I was in kindergarten, my father used the money from selling gold to contract over 100 acres of farmland in the village, hiring several workers to help with the labor. The rice grown had an extremely high yield and excellent quality. Selling for a good price and earning the first real bucket of gold, the rice merchant then signed an order with Dad, paid a deposit, and reserved the next year's rice harvest. Even with high yields, the limited land ultimately prevented the possibility of truly making a fortune, so, after careful consideration, Dad leased the vast fields in several nearby villages. To everyone's surprise, the rice that grew in the fields my father contracted was always much better than that in other fields. My father said it was all thanks to my good fortune as a lucky star. Soon, our old, dilapidated house was replaced by a 2-story Western-style building, the most luxurious house in the entire village. To make it easier to pick me up and drop me off from school, my father spent a fortune to buy a car. I attended elementary school in my hometown. Children from over 10 villages in the entire township all went to school here. Chinjiabo was no exception. He was spoiled and grew up without knowing his limits. A troublemaker who fought and bullied classmates at school. The classmates' parents complained to the teacher. The biological mother stood with her hands on her hips, raising her voice as she pointed at the little girl and scolded her. Which eye of yours saw my precious son bullying her? Clearly, this wretched girl is deliberately trying to get my precious son's attention. At such a young age, she has no sense of shame. As the saying goes, you can tell a person's future from the age of 3. My precious son would never be interested in such a low-class girl, such a poor and shabby look. Even if you gave it to my precious son, he wouldn't want it. My family treasure is a lucky star, destined to make a fortune in the future and marry a city girl. The little girl's parents were just ordinary farmers and couldn't do much about Chinjiabo, so they had no choice but to swallow their anger and keep their daughter away from him. With his birth mother's indulgence, Chinjiabo became even more arrogant. When he saw me at school, he teamed up with a group of boys to block my way. Deaf-mute, give me 50 yuan for pocket money. Most of the classmates didn't have pocket money, and if they did, it was only a few cents. But my parents loved me dearly and were very generous with my pocket money, always giving it in 10 yuan bills. However, I saved it all up, accumulating several hundred yuan, remembering how he used to beat and scold me, and frame me. Waves of humiliation rose in my heart. I said coldly, I won't give it to you. My words angered him. You dare not give it to me. Believe it or not, I'll beat you to death. My mom said you're just a money-losing burden. When my aunt and uncle die, you'll inherit their money, and it'll all be mine. I'm taking my own money to spend now, and you dare not give it to me. I looked at him coldly. So, that's what my biological parents were planning. My parents didn't have any children of their own. I was their only daughter. Over the years, they had earned a lot of money, which had made many people envious, and my biological parents were no exception. They had come to our door many times, but each time, the old lady next door had driven them away. The reckless fear the desperate. They can't afford to mess with the old lady, so they have no choice but to give up. No, they actually have the audacity to think about taking advantage of a family with no male heirs. I glanced at the dark aura above his head and the nearby billboard that was on the verge of collapsing, then said, my parents will live to a ripe old age, but you won't make it to that time. You dare curse me to die, you bastard. With that, he signaled to the group of thugs, and they charged at me with fists raised. Fighting, brawling, blocking the road, robbing, and committing all sorts of evil deeds. You are hereby sentenced to 3 days of bed rest. Words become law. I nimbly dodged, and a nearby fertilizer advertisement board toppled over, tripping several of them, causing them to fall flat on their faces. The whole group, some with sprains, others with bruises, would have to obediently stay in bed for at least 3 days. Her own precious son had suffered such a great injustice, so his biological mother naturally wouldn't let it go. She stormed into the school, barged into the top class where I was, grabbed my hair, and yanked me up from my seat. You wretch, worthless girl, how dare you hurt my son? I'll beat you to death. As she spoke, her hammer-like hand swung toward me. I nimbly dodged. She swung at the air, and because she used too much force, she lost her balance and fell flat on her face, causing the classmates to cover their mouths and snicker. I have no doubt that if that slap had actually landed on my face, my ears might have been deafened. She still hasn't changed. Every time she hits me, it's as if she wants to kill me. It didn't hit me. She lost face and deliberately raised her voice to shout, this wretched girl is a jinx. Getting close to her brings misfortune. Look at me. I fell as soon as I got near her. The jinx will bring death upon you all. If you want to live, you'd better not play with this wretched girl, at first. None of the classmates believed what she said, but within a few days, the classmates I got along with inexplicably either broke their legs, lost their belongings, suffered from diarrhea, or developed rashes on their bodies. Some even spread rumors that the mine collapse where my biological father used to work was caused by me, and that I was the reason he still walks with a limp to this day. Gradually, the classmates started to believe that I was truly a jinx, and that being near me would bring misfortune. As a result, they slowly began to isolate me and point fingers at me. I know, it was my birth mother and Xinjiabao who did it. I can't use my powers to harm them, but I can give them a little punishment. Both of them fell into the manure pit again, reeking all over. All the classmates gathered together, pointing at me and whispering about how I slept in a doghouse, ate dog food, stole money from home, bullied my own brother, and turned my back on my family. When I was young, I was portrayed as a wicked child, a jinx, and everyone grew to dislike me more and more. I couldn't help but feel sad and hurt inside. I will never forget that day after school. A row of impressive cars was parked at the school gate. Each car was filled with the most fashionable dolls in the city, Ultraman, toy guns, and so on. A man with a wide grin, revealing a set of big white teeth, stood in front of the car. In his hand, he was holding super large cartoon balloons of various kinds. The balloons floated in the air, seemingly about to lift him up into the sky. It's my dad. Standing by with a gentle smile is my mom. The classmates were instantly captivated by so many high-end toys. Dad waved at me, calling my name loudly. Mom also held a beautifully decorated cake box and, under the envious gazes of my classmates, pulled me into a warm embrace. Dad loudly said to the classmates, "He is my dad, and my birthday is coming soon. I'm inviting the whole class to ride in a car and go to the city to eat KFC. Each classmate can choose their favorite gift." At that time, it was a very cool thing for any child to go to the city and eat KFC once. The classmates were thrilled, wishing me a happy birthday one after another, and excitedly picking out their favorite gifts. They crowded around me, all envious that I had such cool parents, with a car to pick me up, trips to the city for KFC, and so many beautiful toys. I became the most envied kid among my classmates. Everyone wanted to be my friend, and the rumor that I was a jinx was naturally forgotten by everyone. At that moment, I felt so incredibly happy, and all my worries were completely forgotten. It was my parents who learned about my situation and came specifically to support me. It can be said that this meal of KFC could heal me for a lifetime. In recent years, my parents' business has grown bigger and bigger, and they even established a company specializing in grain, oil, and other related businesses. My biological father also tried to follow my dad's example by contracting farmland, but his products couldn't be sold and rotted in the fields, resulting in a total loss. He learned from his father and went into business, only to be cheated out of a large sum of money. To make a living, he went to work in the city, but after just a few days, the contractor at the construction site ran away, and he couldn't get a single cent. His biological mother could only take on odd jobs here and there to help support the family. However, Xinjiabao was a troublemaker, always wanting the latest mobile phone, brand-name sneakers, and constantly stirring up trouble, getting into fights and brawls. Just the compensation for injuring others had my biological father and mother pulling their hair out in worry. Once they ran out of money, they would come to my house, making a scene and demanding that my mother give them money. "Jiabao's father is your own brother, the root of your Qin family. Now that you're doing well, why won't you give your own brother money to spend? What girl doesn't give money to the men in her family? I'm warning you, my son is a lucky star, destined to make a fortune in the future. If you don't spend money now to please my son, when we get rich later, we might reluctantly give you a bite to eat." My parents saw through them and simply ignored them. When I entered middle school, I was admitted to the best school in the city, No. 1 middle school. Xinjiabao's grades were a complete mess, not to mention city schools. Even vocational schools wouldn't accept him, but his biological mother believed that Xinjiabao was naturally intelligent and would definitely get into university in the future, becoming a person of high status. Upon learning that I was going to attend a city school, my biological mother came to me, looking all high and mighty. "You're just a money-losing burden. Reading so many books is useless. Your brother is the pillar of the family. Stop studying and give your spot at the top high school to your brother. Your brother is going to college in the future." I pretended to look surprised. Xinjiabao didn't get into no. 1 high school. Indeed, with Xinjiabao's brain, studying is a waste of time and money. He'll never get into college in his lifetime. It would be better to send Xinjiabao to learn a skill. Maybe he can still find a way out, even without using the power of words. Xinjiabao would never have gotten into university. His biological mother was furious. "You worthless wretch. How dare you curse your brother?" My son is a genius, it's all because of you, you jinx, that he failed to get into the top high school. You're just a worthless burden, nothing but a dog to Jiabao. If I hadn't sent you to your aunt, how could you have had such a good life, you ungrateful dog? How dare you disobey me? I'll beat you to death. As she spoke, she raised her hand again, intending to hit me. I grabbed her wrist firmly and said coldly, I'm not the child who used to endure your beatings and insults anymore. If you lay a hand on me, I'll call the police. With that, I turned and left, leaving her to rage alone on the spot. She was so angry that she made a special trip to my doorstep. Hands on her hips, she pointed at my parents and shouted loudly, You're so foolish. That wretched girl will belong to someone else sooner or later. Spending so much money on her education is like throwing meat buns at a dog. Once it's gone for good. Why not let Jiabao go to school? Jiabao is a lucky star. A genius, he will definitely get into university in the future and bring honor to the family. You have no children of your own. When you grow old, you'll have to rely on Jiabao to take care of you, and when you die, you'll need Jiabao to carry the funeral basin. I advise you to be sensible and treat Jiabao well, or else I'll make sure he doesn't carry the funeral basin for you. Mom was so angry that she started mimicking her and shouting back, I will support Xiaoyu's education all the way through college. If Xiaoyu wants to study abroad, I'll support that too. I don't care for your ugly, misshapen son. What's the point? Even if your son smashes the funeral bowl, can I come back to life from the coffin? I have plenty of money and don't need your son to support me in my old age or see me off when I die. Even if I donate all my money, I won't give a single penny to your son. The biological mother was so angry that she rushed into the house and tried to hit my mother. During the scuffle, my mother suddenly fainted. Mom, I was in a great hurry and pushed my birth mother away. If anything happens to my mother, I won't let you off. The power of words cannot be used to harm others arbitrarily. One must bear the consequences. For example, back then, she made a vow herself. I could summon lightning to punish her, but I couldn't harm her without cause. The results from the hospital checkup turned out to be incredibly good news. Mom is already 3 months pregnant, and it's twins. Not being able to give Dad a child has always been Mom's biggest regret, especially in recent years. As they have earned more and more money, it's inevitable that some envious people would emerge, openly or secretly mocking my mother, saying that no matter how much money she has, she still doesn't have a child of her own. Although my mother has long regarded me as her own child, and my father has never minded, hearing such remarks inevitably makes her uncomfortable. As I grow older, my magical power grows stronger, so, after accumulating my power for a long time, I use the power of words to make a wish. May my parents have both a son and a daughter, and may they live a peaceful and smooth life. Upon hearing the news, my father was so overjoyed that he cried and laughed at the same time. The two of them held me in their arms, repeatedly saying that I was their lucky star. It was because I was destined to have younger siblings that my mother became pregnant. Upon learning the news, the biological mother went mad. She pointed at my mother, hurling insults and shouting uncontrollably, How dare you get pregnant? How could you have the nerve to get pregnant? All the money in your family belongs to that worthless girl. And that means it's my precious son's. You have your own biological son now, and you'll take my son's money. What right do you have to have a son to steal my son's money? No, you can't have it. Get rid of it now. I order you to abort that bastard in your belly. She made a huge scene in the hospital room, even dragging the doctor and forcing him to perform an abortion on my mother, threatening to die in the hospital otherwise. Everyone thought she was insane. Finally, she was thrown out by the hospital security. Mom had a threatened miscarriage, and being an older mother with twins, she stayed in the hospital for several days before being discharged. Dad and I took turns staying at the hospital every day to watch over Mom, making sure our biological mother didn't get anywhere near her, but our biological mother never showed up again. I know she would never let it go. Sure enough, just a few days later, while Dad was driving Mom to the hospital to register for prenatal care, a van crashed head-on into their car and then fled the scene. Dad's car was completely wrecked, and he was left with a bloody head injury. Fortunately, Mom was only shaken up, and the baby in her womb remained safe and sound. The power of words will protect my younger siblings for a lifetime. When my biological father was arrested, he kept shouting that it was all my mother's fault for earning so much money but not giving him a single cent to spend. He even dared to secretly have children, trying to steal his precious son's inheritance. It was all my mother's fault. He was forced into it. In the end, it all came down to what his biological mother said. If Mom and Dad don't have children, all the inheritance will be mine. In their eyes, I am their biological daughter, and they can control me just like they did when I was a child. Mine is theirs is Qinjiabao's. Therefore, the child in Mom's belly is the evil seed that comes to snatch Qinjiabao's property. They want to kill the child in mom's belly. As for mom's life, it was never within their consideration. During the police investigation, they kept insisting it was just a traffic accident, at most a hit and run, but Dad insisted on charging the biological father with attempted murder, seeking a conviction for attempted murder. The biological mother brought Chinjiabao to our house and caused a huge scene. "You wretched woman. Aren't you fine? The bastard in your belly is perfectly fine. And you haven't lost an ounce of flesh. What are you being so delicate about? That's your own brother. How can you be so malicious, determined to see your brother dead? You vicious wretch. You're just jealous that your brother has a son." Seeing me, she lashed out indiscriminately again. "It's all your fault, you damned mute. You're nothing but a jinx. Look at how you've driven your father to prison. Hurry up and get your aunt to write a letter of understanding. And compensate your dad for his emotional distress, or I'll beat you to death, you worthless thing." I pointed at my mom and dad and said, "You've got it wrong. These are my mom and dad. You're just my uncle and aunt. Uncle going to jail is his own fault. You brought this on yourselves. Just because mom is fine doesn't mean you haven't done anything illegal. We absolutely will not write a letter of understanding. As for who is really the jinx, who has brought you to poverty and constant misfortune all these years, you know it in your hearts. Don't use the excuse of a jinx to cover up your feudalistic preference for sons over daughters." My biological mother's face turned terrifyingly dark as she waved her fists and screamed, threatening to hit me. "You wretched girl. Jiabao is the heir of the Qin family. How dare you slander my precious son as a jinx? I'll beat you to death." "Enough." My father shielded me behind him, his eyes red with anger, and grabbed a carrying pole from the corner. Get out of here. Xiaoyu is my precious daughter. If you dare lay a finger on my daughter, my wife, or my child, I will go bankrupt if I have to, but I will make sure you end up in prison." Dad had always been honest and kind to others, and he had never been this angry or resorted to violence before. The biological mother didn't dare to confront him head-on, so she could only leave while cursing and grumbling. The biological father was soon sentenced. The birth mother lost her financial support and reliance. As if she had aged 10 years in an instant, she continued to take odd jobs, using her meager salary to support Qinjiabao's high expenses. Her precious son, at the moment of his birth, seemed to radiate a golden light, causing the overcast, rainy sky to clear and reveal a rare rainbow. Even when the mine collapsed and so many people died, his birth father managed to survive. If it wasn't for the blessing of her lucky son, how else could all this be explained? So she always firmly believed that Qinjiabao must be a lucky star. He would definitely achieve great success in the future and become very wealthy, and all the hardships she was suffering now were because of me. Qinjiabao and I are twins. I absorbed the fortune's luck, which is why she has been so unlucky. You can never wake someone who is pretending to be asleep. Perhaps she had already sensed it, but because Qinjiabao is a son and with her strong-willed personality, how could she possibly admit defeat? The sunk cost is too high. She can only stubbornly continue to believe. Mom gave birth to a lovely pair of twins, a boy and a girl, with my magical power protecting them. My younger brother and sister are very healthy, chubby and fair, with a layer of golden light surrounding them. The two little ones are very attached to me. As soon as I hold them, they become well-behaved, neither crying nor fussing, and just keep smiling at me. As soon as they learned to walk, they followed me around, never leaving my side for a moment. Mom pretended to be jealous. "What a little ungrateful thing." Dad chuckled happily. "It's all the good fortune Xiaoyu brought. Xiaoyu is our great lucky star. I started high school to take better care of me." Mom and Dad directly bought a large flat in the city, and our whole family moved there. The house is fully paid for and registered solely in my name. They say that it's all thanks to my good fortune that they are living such a good life now, even though they have 2 children. The vast majority of the family's assets are prepared for me. I jokingly said, "Mom and Dad, don't give all your money to me. You need to live a long life, so you should keep more for your retirement." The two of them said with a smile that they didn't want to live to 100 years old. They just wanted the 3 of us siblings to be healthy and happy for our entire lives. They didn't know that my power of spoken words had already paved the way for our family. They will live to 100 years old, and we will all be healthy and happy for our entire lives. A few days before my college entrance exam, my birth mother found me. She was dressed in rags. Only in her 40s but looking as old as 60, there were clearly visible scars on her face and arms. As soon as we met, she began to cry and pour out her grievances to me. She went to great lengths to get Qinjiabao into a decent high school, but Qinjiabao skipped school every day, got into fights, and bullied his classmates. He even became addicted to online games. He owed hundreds of thousands in high-interest loans, and when the loan sharks came to collect, They took all the valuable things from the house and beat both her and Qinjiabao. If we can't pay back the money again, we'll have to chop off Qinjiabao's fingers. Xiaoyu, Jiabao is your own brother. Please help him. I took half a step back, creating some distance between us. I'm just a student. I don't have the money to help him. A flicker of calculation crossed her biological mother's face. Your aunt is rich, isn't she? Tell them you were scammed and need 500,000, no, 1 million. They dote on you so much, they'll definitely give it to you. Besides, they already have their own children now. The family assets will surely go to them in the future. You should take this chance to get more from them, or you'll be at a disadvantage. I am your biological mother, and I am the only one who truly has your best interests at heart. Listen to me, go and ask them for more money. Once your brother's debts are paid off, have them buy him a big house and a nice car. Then our family of 3 can finally be reunited. I looked at her deeply. I have long since severed ties with you all. There is no way I would deceive my parents for money. You can give up on that idea. After saying that, I turned and walked away. Li Xiaoyu, my biological mother grabbed me angrily. How can you be so stubborn? I am your real mother. I carried you for 10 months, gave birth to you, and raised you through thick and thin. I am your greatest benefactor, and you should honor me. Jiabao and I are your true family. You should stand by us. How can you treat a thief as your mother? You're such an ungrateful wretch. My greatest benefactor, I sneered. Is your kindness to me the fact that when I was just born, you despised me for being a girl and wanted to drown me, but you spared my life out of mercy so that later you could exchange me for a bride price to get a wife for Qinjiabao? Is it that all the eggs and meat in the house could only be eaten by Qinjiabao? While I wasn't even worthy of eating bones, only fit to drink the leftover rice soup from you, is it that no matter what Qinjiabao did wrong, it was always blamed on me, and without even asking for the truth, you would beat and kick me, wishing you could kill me? Is it tying a dog leash around my neck, making me crawl on the ground like a dog, just to amuse your precious son? I brushed aside the hair on my head, revealing a sparse patch. Or was it you who used a lighter to set my hair on fire, leaving me with this permanent scar? My birth mother was stunned for a long time, seemingly not expecting that I remembered the events from my childhood so clearly. After a long while, she snapped back to reality, flushed with anger and shame, truly a money loser. I'm your own mother. How dare you hold a grudge? Who told you not to be a boy? Which family's daughter hasn't gone through this? Are you jealous that I treat your brother better? How malicious. If you hadn't taken away your brother's blessings, would our family be this poor? This is all what you owe our family. You have to pay it back. She held my hand tightly and said fiercely, if you dare not give me the money, I'll come to your school every day to make a scene, so all your teachers and classmates can see what kind of person you are. I shook her hand off. Suit yourself. Aren't you about to take the college entrance exam? I'll make sure you can't take it and can't go to college. As you wish. If you dare disobey me, I'll kill those 2 little bastards. She thought she had found my weakness, her face full of smugness and malice. I looked at her coldly, right in front of her. I made a hand gesture to cast a spell. If you dare to think about harming my family, you will suffer unbearable headaches and wish you were dead. I am already over 18 years old, and my magical powers have been restored. Words become law. As soon as she even thinks about harming my family, she will be in unbearable pain. My head hurts so much. What have you done? You really are the calamity that's harming me. You're a monster. It hurts so much. As soon as I finished speaking, she rolled on the ground in pain. It seems that, at this moment, she is truly thinking seriously about how to harm my family. I wish for you to live a long life, to repay you for the 10 months of pregnancy and the kindness of giving birth to me, lived a life of poverty and illness. Let me live in pain. Shortly after finishing the college entrance exam, I was kidnapped, my eyes were covered, my mouth was gagged, and my hands and feet were tied. It seemed I was thrown into a vehicle. I heard the voice of my biological mother on the phone. Yes, 10 million. If you don't do as I say, I'll cut off Li Xiaoyu's hands and feet, then torture her to death. The anxious voices of my father and mother came through the phone. We'll give it. Shufin, please don't hurt Xiaoyu. We'll give you however much money you want. After discussing the method and time of the transaction, she hung up the phone, and her biological mother said, Jiabao, if we send this girl to Boss Wang, what will we use to ask your aunt for money when we run out of money in the future? Qinjiabao was extremely impatient. How annoying. It's just sending a woman over, and we won't have to repay those hundreds of thousands. If you don't take such a good deal, are you an idiot? If we run out of money in the future, at worst, we can just tell the Li family about this wretched girl's whereabouts and extort another sum of money. Her biological mother happily praised, my son is so clever. It's all because of this money-losing wretch, not getting the money from them earlier, making us go through so much trouble. I really wish I could kill those two bastards. My head hurts so much. It's really strange. Every time I think about killing those two bastards, my head hurts like hell. It turns out that after their threats failed, they planned to kidnap me and extort 10 million from my parents, at the same time. They handed me over to some boss named Wang to settle his high-interest loan. It really is quite criminal. I silently recited a mantra to myself. Suddenly, the steering wheel of the car carrying me went out of control, and after a sudden brake, the car overturned. Everyone in the vehicle was left with bloody heads and faces. I was completely unharmed. I untied the rope myself and, under the terrified gaze of my birth mother, picked up her phone to call the police, then reassured my parents. When she was taken away, she was still cursing at me. She bore most of the blame and was sentenced as the principal offender. Qin Jiabao, on the other hand, was portrayed as an innocent person coerced by his mother and received a lighter sentence. When they were imprisoned, I went to visit them. Qin Jiabao waved his fists, cursing at me, saying I was his dog, a mere dog. How dare I resist? He made a harsh vow. Once he got out, he would definitely kill me and make my life a living hell. Just like back in the day, he held the leash, and on that leash, I was tethered, my dignity trampled underfoot. With a wave of my hand, I withdrew the last trace of his magical power. Instantly, the dark aura around his head seemed to swallow him whole. He had become a true harbinger of disaster. It was I who altered his fate back then, and now, he should return to his original destiny. Those who get close to him will become unfortunate, but I made a small adjustment. Kind-hearted people will not be affected by him. He will only cause the more wicked to become more unlucky. When I went to see my birth mother, she tearfully begged me, for the sake of our shared blood, to take good care of Qin Jiabao after he got out. I leaned close to her ear and whispered to her, Qin Jiabao is the real jinx. It was he who caused my birth father to break his leg, and no matter what business he tried, he was so unlucky that he achieved nothing. It was he who brought their entire family to utter poverty, leading them to commit evil acts out of desperation, and they all ended up in prison. In the future, when they are released from prison, he will still bring them to utter destitution, forcing them to live a life of misery, and the lineage you so desperately cling to will be completely severed with Qin Jiabao. He will never have children in his lifetime, because he was originally my sister, but due to our birth mother's wish, I made him my brother. The magical power dissipated, and he returned to his original fate, and now, he is male, with a preference for men. You know, everything I say will come true. My birth mother screamed in horror, cursing me with the most vicious words in the world, but I no longer feel any pain at all. My parents have built a solid armor of love around me, allowing me to withstand all the hardships. After graduating from university, I became a volunteer. I have traveled across the great mountains of my homeland with my own 2 feet. I have supported girls in the mountains, those who rise early and work late, washing clothes, cooking, feeding chickens and pigs, and taking care of the entire family and their younger brothers, girls named Xiaodi, Pundi, or even those without names, so they can go to school. I tell them they are not worthless burdens. Each one of them is a unique treasure in this world. They are like precious jade covered in dust. Even if they are in the mud, they must keep their hearts turned toward the light. Knowledge, effort, struggle, resilience, and perseverance will change their fate. As long as they strive hard and continuously improve themselves, they will surely have a bright future. Words become law. What I say will come true. After hearing the 2 stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.